All right, I call a meeting on the Supreme Paloman on Sunday, February 7th, 2021. All representatives say here if you are here and present.
Here.
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 All right. Thank you. Okay, so first motion, I have only one motion, and that is from Archie Birch. Now, Archie Birch from Misberia would like to have foreign relations with the Free Socialist State of Paloma. So here is the treaty that he has kindly drafted, and I will drop this in the discussion here so you guys can all look over it. I've looked over it. I see no issues, but maybe a fresh pair of eyes can look at it and let me know if you have any objections, any comments, etc.
I'll read through it real quick.
All right, let me look over it. Let's see. Hold up, does the Misberia I think the Misberia doesn't the Mis
Oh,
Who do you think?
order. Do not swear. This is a formal venue, so please keep swearing minimum unless you were quoting something.
All right, but what do you think of the Misberian coat of arms? It looks kind of suspicious.
I would.
Point of order.
That has point. Yeah, point of order. That has nothing to do with anything.
All right.
Let's see.
Yep.
Looks decent.
Yeah, I haven't found anything wrong with it so far.
Yeah, so far it sounds pretty good.
Let me know when you guys are all done with it, and then we'll move on to discussion and then vote.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think anything's wrong with it at all.
Yeah, it looks good. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
All right, Cameron, does it look good to you?
I'm still reading. Give me a minute.
All right.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Okay. Any comments from the representative of Punto de Sal?
I don't have any comments.
Any comments from the representative of Tabasco?
I have nothing.
Any comments from the representative of Zafaro?
None besides Misberia is a well-developed nation, and this would be good for intermigrational affairs.
I agree.
And I have no comments on behalf of Pajaro. So we will bring this to vote. On behalf of Pajaro, I vote A in favor of this bill passing.
On behalf of Punta de Sal, I vote A. And
On behalf of Teobasco, I vote A.
And on behalf of Zafiro, I vote A.
Motion passes unilaterally. That's all I have to propose. I believe Mr. Kohler, Representative Kohler, has a proposal.
Yes, I wrote a Paloman Format Act, which would establish the format in which all Paloman documents are to be written in regarding legislative affairs. And I'll drop the PDF in the discussion board. So if every member can please take a look at this and then get back. And then we can vote on it.
It looks good.
I've finished reading it. It looks good to me.
I agree with the others.
All right, any comments from the Representative Puna de Sal on the bill?
Not really.
All right, any comments on the bill from a representative from Tabasco?
No.
And any comments from the representative of Zafaro?
None.
No comments from Pajaro. I shall put the motion into vote on this. I vote A on behalf of Pajaro.
On behalf of Tabasco, I vote A.
On behalf of Punto de Sal, I vote A.
We'll have Zafiro, I vote A.
Motion passes unanimously. Let me now write that down. While I'm writing this down, feel free to, for anyone to propose anything, you don't need to have a bill ready, just a discussion.
I have something to propose.
Floor is yours.
Back in June of 2020, we passed a bill. It was to ban symbols and sayings such as Nazi symbolism, fascist symbolism, terrorist symbolism, and dangerous books. I have a couple of things to say with that. I prepared a little, somewhat of a speech here, and I don't consider much of a speech, but I would like to propose to repeal this law and remove the banning of symbols and expressions from law, because I believe banning symbols can make it harder for people to access history. It makes it harder to access knowledge, and I wrote here that although it may be offensive, it shouldn't get banned, and if somebody were to get offended by a symbol, they should just carry on with their day like a mature adult or young adult, and not need to have it banned from use, because that constricts the freedom of speech and expression. But on that, I would like to point out one specific example of a banning. You pointed out dangerous and non-appropriate books, and you cited Siege, the Anarchist Cookbook, and Mein Kampf. One thing about the Anarchist Cookbook, that isn't just offensive, that can actually harm others. I believe the Anarchist Cookbook needs to stay banned, but banning the symbols, such as the Nazi symbolism, fascist symbolism, terrorist symbolism, and banning of the books such as Mein Kampf should be repealed.
Point of order.
Mr. Kohler, you may have the floor.
I would like to ask the delegate of Tabasco 2 questions regarding the legislation passed in June. Do you have the document on your hand? And if you can, please supply us with it. And additionally, if we are to keep certain things banned and remove bans on others, shouldn't this be done through an amendment of the bill?
Well, it was not a bill, it was just kind of like what I'm doing here. His Excellency McGrath here wrote in the Discord channel listing the symbols. I voted nay, and a couple others voted aye, and it passed, obviously. But I can quote it here, so you can scroll up and look at the message.
Okay. Let me please read. Give me a minute. Point of order to the General Secretary.
You may go ahead.
You said, quote, I would like to add to the current criminal code the ban of certain books, symbols, and sayings in Paloma and its divisions. Now, regarding this current criminal code, do you have any of this written down, or is this like in a specific book or document anywhere that you can provide us with?
No, sir. See, the issue with how we used to govern a few months ago is basically anything that was written in the Discord server is how would be law. So there was no physical documents at the time, so no, I can say that there was no documents.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yep.
Point of order to the delegate of Tejabasco.
All right.
So this criminal code regarding the ban on Nazi fascists and terrorists and symbolism like that, and siege, the anarchist cookbook, Mein Kampf, etc. I would suggest that you take up the Format Act that we just passed and use it to form a document regarding the unban and reban on certain things, such as the anarchist cookbook, and then unban swastikas or symbolism like that. And I think that would help explain your point more in detail.
All right. Your Excellency, would you want me to do that?
There's nothing stopping you, so you may go ahead and do it.
All right. I'll go ahead.
If you'd like, you can begin now, and we could try to do it today. If it's a matter that you believe is very, very important and requires today.
I do believe it's very important. I can begin writing that immediately. Thank you.
All right. However, make sure you do base your bill off of the current legislator that was just passed a few minutes ago relating to bills.
Of course.
I've sent
thank
the delegate from Tejabasco the docx file so he can edit it to his need.
Very good. Thank you.
Of course.
Any other proposals from any other delegates?
None for me.
Raising the question of the judicial to the General Secretary. Regarding the Supreme Court, if that is currently still what we have in place, yes?
Correct, sir.
As far as I can tell, term length is still 5 years, yes?
Correct, sir. However, we do not have any current justice. The last justice we had was Durba, and currently Durba is retired from Paloman politics as of now.
So, as it stands, the last Chief Justice for the court was Andrew Durba, and before that was Mr. Morris, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the court is strictly an appellate court, which means it only handles appeals.
Not exactly. It's a court of last resort. Well, you could consider it a court of last resort, or you could consider it the only court in Paloma for anything.
Okay. Okay. The issue I have is that we don't have a Chief Justice, which is very important considering if something violated the Constitution, violated people's constitutional rights, we would have no one to go to besides you, and I would prefer like a justice to handle that. Additionally, it says the court is made up of 2 judges who handle most of the cases, yet we have no one as either justice. And lastly, if it's the main court and it's the only court in the nation, it shouldn't be regarded as the court of last resort because it's, again, the only court.
I see your point.
Okay. So may I propose to the Supreme Paloman that we nominate and confirm 2 citizens as the justices of the Supreme People's Court?
I would allow that, yes, if you can find yourself 2 willing citizens.
I will look into it. Thank you. I cede the floor back to the General Secretary.
Very well. Any other comments?
I have a question.
The floor is yours, delegate from Tabasco.
I believe last time I looked on MicroWiki, I was noted as the Chief Justice, and when I asked you if I was still Chief Justice, you said I was.
Is this correct?
I believe so. If I can find the message, I will send it.
Point of order.
I cede the floor to Mr. Kohler.
So the delegate from Tejabasco is the Chief Justice?
I am not sure. I I'm very sure that it is not in legislation.
Okay.
I will be sending. I have a screenshot here of the message if you'd like to look at that.
Yes, please give me a minute. And what that was dated on the February 1st of 2021. So that was 6 days ago, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, General Secretary, can you please confirm that Jack Rand Morris is still the Chief Justice?
I cannot confirm.
Would you like me to continue my reaching out to people?
Yes, I would recommend you do so.
Okay. I cede the floor back to the General Secretary.
Is there any other comments, concerns,
No.
motions?
I have nothing. Actually, please give me a minute. I am currently writing the legislation to repeal the law that was passed on the 20th of June 2020, and I will send it when I'm finished.
Point of order to the General Secretary.
The floor is yours.
I've contacted Mrs. Ludlow regarding the justice nomination, and I'll see if she can get back to me. Would you have any other citizens in mind, or would you like for me to handle this on my own accord?
You may handle it on your own accord.
Very well, thank you. Point of order to the General Secretary one more time.
You have the floor.
I've also contacted citizen Mr. Yori Koman of Taedong, and I'll let the legislative body know as soon as I get responses from both Ms. Ludlow and Mr. Yuri.
I would
I
like
see
to
the
make a
floor.
point of order.
Go ahead.
Sir Corman is actually a Paloman diplomat, so he already has a position that he is in charge of, and he is currently the ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands.
Okay, so I'll revoke that statement to him, and I'll see if I can find anyone else for that position. I see the floor back to the General Secretary. Thank you.
I think.
So, specifically, what are we doing now?
Currently, we are waiting on Mr. Morris.
Well, it may take me a minute. We can adjourn for a moment if you guys would prefer that, and we can come back when I'm finished, or we can just wait it out.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
I see the floor to you.
Thank you, General Secretary. I do respect the decision, or the how do I say, the suggestion that the delegate from Tejabasco presented, and I'd be happy to take that if the rest of the body is after. I would just like to make one question to the General Secretary: is Chao Kang active on the server, and do you think they could be a good Chief Justice if they aren't already a part of the government or diplomat of any way?
Mr. Chang is. Correct me if I'm saying it wrong. he has recently just joined. He did apply for citizenship by legal means, and he is a full citizenship. He did the application excellently. He is not in government, but he is in the Communist Party, and he is he's in many other micronations that revolve around the Communist parties. Um, so I feel like if you were to nominate him, he would be a strong supporter and defending of socialist society. Not saying that that's bad or anything, or if it's good either. I'm just telling you a little bit of his background, since I do not know much about the man personally yet, as he does talk. He has been active in the last few days that he's joined, but there could be some issues as he does live in Vietnam, so there could be some issues with times and if we had any court cases and if we were going to use him. But overall, I'd say he does seem like a pretty good guy so far. I don't have any issues with you. I see the floor.
Okay, Mrs. Ludlow resides in the Eastern Time Zone, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I think that's a good balance then, because if we can get one person in an Asian time zone and one person in a Eastern time zone, it helps balance both requests from Eastern and more, how do I say, local time zones to us in Paloma, and the rest of the world, like Europe and Asia.
So you're saying that we should attempt to get people from multiple time zones?
I'm saying that if Mrs. Ludlow accepts the nomination and Mr. Kang also accepts the nomination, it would be a good balance for the court.
All right. So what you're saying is, for example, if we needed a court case early in the morning, Mr. Chang would probably be awake, and if we needed a court case later in the day, Miss Ludlow would be able to handle it if hypothetically they both were nominated.
That is correct.
All right, I have no further comment.
I have
Very
a
good.
comment.
Go ahead.
I am just about finished with the legislation. If you guys would like to send, if you would like me to send it in a PDF form,
Please.
just give me a moment here. I just have to add one last thing. One moment, please. All right, I will send it in PDF form here. Sorry.
I would like to make a proposal before Mr. Morse presents his bill.
Go ahead.
Before he presents his bill and we look over it, I propose that we go and have a recess for around 5 to 10 minutes.
I'm
Is
recording.
everyone ready? All right. All right, welcome back. We're out of recess.
All right.
I would like to cede the floor to the delegate from Tabasco, and he may go on with his bill that he is presented and he is ready with.
Yes,
So I
thank
cede the
you.
floor to you.
I have sent the act in the Discord chat. It is to be referred to as the Freedom of Expression Act of 2021. It is there if you'd like to read it.
Point of order.
Continue.
I have numerous questions regarding the act.
Yeah, I would like to apologize in advance. I might have not followed the format very well, but please continue.
The format is fine. It's just majority of the wording of the articles. As Article 1 just says, repeal the legislation passed on the 20th of June in the year of our Lord 2020 to ban symbols. Now, the issue I have with that is not necessarily that anything's wrong with the word, like anything's wrong with what it's doing, but it doesn't say that this act repeals it. It just says repeal.
Oh, apologies. I can make a modification to that immediately.
And Article 2 says allow the following symbols, commonly known as the swastika, Reichsadler, Wolf's Angel, Older Runes, Sig Runes, Algis Runes, Black Sun, Hammer and Sword, SS, Death Head, Yoke and Arrows, Fasces, Lightning Bolts, Ku Klux Klan symbolism, ISIL symbolism, White Power nationalism, Black Power, to be used for any purpose on public property or private property where the use is permitted. I think removing the word commonly would be helpful just due to the fact because these symbols are called that. They're not just commonly like referred to as that, you know. Number 3 is fine.
I believe I forgot something actually. Let me read over this.
And the last article I have a problem with is Article 4. Article 4 states the book, quote, the Anarchist Cookbook, stay banned.
I concur with the honorable gentleman from
Ro-
Zafaro. There is a grammatical error with that statement.
What should I change it to?
Well, the issue I have with it is that if a court cited it, it would say, in pursuant to the Freedom of Expression Act, Article 4, quote, the book Anarchist Cookbook stay banned. It doesn't make any grammatical sense. So I would write
Maybe the book, the Anarchist Cookbook, remains banned.
I think it remains, or you can add the word must before stay. I think both of those are agreeable
Okay.
considerations that we can do.
I change it here to the book, the Anarchist Cookbook, must remain banned.
That's good. I have a point of order to the General Secretary.
I see the floor to you.
I just got a response from Mrs. Ludlow, and I'm ready to read it out to the legislative body.
You have the floor.
Quote, I would like to deny as the place would be better suited for someone more readily available. Though I do appreciate you asking, I cannot accept. I am sorry. I will be continuing my search for another Chief Justice for the courts, and I will wait on Mr. Kang's response as well. So I cede the floor back to the General Secretary, and thank you.
Very well.
I have just updated the grammar. I will send a I will add the newer version into the chat.
And I will delete the older version if that's fine. Let's look over it now.
Point of order.
The floor is yours.
The delegate from Tabasco has fixed the act, and I'm ready to move to a vote. I cede.
Yeah, it seems good to me.
I would like to make a point of order.
Continue.
Before you begin, I'm going to be absent for a bit.
So with the name, it says Freedom of Expression Act. However, in the bill itself, it doesn't state that. It states a. Let me reopen it again. It states a motion to repeal or motion to unban, which is kind of deceiving from its actual title.
Do you have anything you suggest I should change it to? Maybe an act of the Supreme Paloman to improve freedom of expression in the free socialist state of Paloma. Maybe that'd be better.
What you could do if you wanted to is, I mean, the name of the document is freedom of expression. If you wanted to, we don't really have any exact laws on. Well, don't we have? Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Color, but don't we have a document that lists the basic rights of a Paloman citizen?
We do.
May I request the document be sent in the Discord server so I can look at it for something real quick?
Of course.
I've sent it.
Thank you.
Of
I
course.
am. The delegate for Punto de Sal is now present again.
Pardon. Define the rights of Paloman citizens. Then I would like to just make a comment that I believe that the legislation that was passed, well, not legislation, but the law that was passed to ban the symbols on June 20th, I believe that that goes against Article 4, Section 2, because it states everyone may have the freedom of thought, belief, expression, opinion, including of the press and other mass media. That would therefore ban the press and mass media from using such symbols, which I also think would constrict belief, expression, and opinion.
Point of order.
Continue.
Please give me one moment. Regarding the rights of a Paloman Citizen Act, that bill was passed on the 25th of September 2020, and the criminal code modification was due on the January, February, March, April, May, June. June is the 6th month, yes? I think so.
Yes.
Yes.
Correction.
The criminal code modification was on the 20th of June 2020. So the criminal code wouldn't have been unconstitutional at the time unless we can find the Constitution and see if it has an explicit violation of that. But as the act to define the rights of a Paloman citizen was passed after the modification to the criminal code, we can't do much in the sense, and if we wanted to, we'd have to start a court case regarding the legality of that old criminal code.
I have the Constitution here. Would you like me to send it in the chat?
Please do.
All right, please give me a minute.
But if we can, if Mr. King or anyone else accepts the nomination for the judges, that would be most beautiful. So we can start a investigation to see if any of this violated a constitutional act or a legislative matter.
Sorry.
All right. I will cite a couple articles here. Article 9, Section 1, Guaranteed Rights. All citizens are guaranteed the freedom to speak their mind, and it shall not be disregarded so long as it does not violate national laws and guidelines that are designed to protect persons from any untruthful speech which harm a person's character or call upon for physical or psychological damages. I believe it goes against that. I believe it goes against that part, although doesn't. It could theoretically get away with that part.
Point of
Freedom.
order.
Please let me continue for a moment, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Freedom of the
Go ahead.
press allows citizens to find, create, and publish a newspaper without interference, prevention, punishment, regulation, or reprisal from the government. I believe the legislation would be completely in contradiction to that, because if a newspaper wanted to say, if there was a pro-Nazi
I
newspaper.
order. I would like the gentleman from Punto de Sal to please stop whatever he's doing, and if
Sorry.
he is going to continue, he will be muted, and if he will continue after that, he will be removed from today's
Sorry
session.
about
Is
that.
that
I
understood?
forgot about that. I forgot to mute my microphone.
All right, thank you. Mr. Morris, may continue.
All right, thank you. I believe that would go against the legislation from June, and the Constitution would be in contradiction to each other on that part, because if there was a, say, pro-Nazi newspaper that were to use the swastika, the government, that would be.
Point of order. Point of
Please
order.
continue.
Point of order. This is not the Constitution.
Oh, apologies. Do we
This
have?
is this is this is a proposed constitution that was never enacted
Oh,
by former Vice President Charles Burgart when he was attempting to do a liberalization of the nation.
oh.
Basically the Constitution is the former Constitution of the PFQ. That's basically it.
I believe I have that somewhere. I will look for it immediately.
Yes, I believe it's the same thing, but it's just the names have been changed. Yeah, that's incorrect, because if you look at the bottom, it says it's been adapted and changed from
Point of
another
order.
country's thing. You have floor.
Disregard.
Very well.
I have two documents here called Constitution of Quebec. Let me see. The first document was passed. I'll send both of them, and you can tell me. I'm not exactly sure which one was the official Constitution of Quebec. I'll send both the documents I have called Constitution of Quebec.
First one is incorrect.
All right, so I believe this is the correct one then.
That is
Yes,
correct.
All right. I will look, see if there's anything that mentions rights.
What are we?
Currently just signing on. Sorry, I was muted.
We're currently looking through the Paloman Constitution, see if any of the one of the bills has any legality.
Why is the constitutions of Quebec and stuff on there?
Paloma's Constitution is basically the Constitution of Quebec. It's just we never changed the names in the Constitution. I believe I do have a copy. I have a copy somewhere where it is where it's translated with the Paloman names, but we cannot find that, so we're currently using this as reference. It's
Chapter
basically
7.
exactly the same.
Point of order. Point of order.
You have the floor.
Chapter 7, Article 6 quotes, "Citizens of the Federation, or what is now the Free Socialist State, have the right to education. This right is ensured by universal compulsory elementary education, by education, including higher education," and goes on about how they have the right to education. Education can mean education through history, education through any matter, and I believe that the old criminal code would violate this in the sense of banning these symbols from being learned about.
I'd like to make a point of order. In the ban, it does not state that they cannot be learned about. If you believe, it says, quote, examples of these symbols need to be removed from a society other than for educational and research reasons.
Okay.
So it is therefore it would be exempt if it was for educational or research reasons or purposes.
Okay. Then I disregard my point, and I cede the floor back to the General Secretary or the delegate from Tahabasca.
Yes, I have something to note. I have looked through Chapter 7. I have not found anything that would mark the legislation from June unconstitutional, but I would still like to go through with proposing the act to repeal the legislation.
Very well. Any comments from any members?
Point of order.
You have the floor.
I would like to inquire that this legislative body writes a new constitution regarding what notions we want to have and what rights that the Palone people get. We can use the same format as of a act, or we can write a complete new bill based off or complete new constitution based off of this old document, as it's heavily outdated and refers to the People's Federation of Quebec.
Well, point of order. I have a copy that is it's not in that way, and nothing says the People's Federation. It is read everything that says references Quebec or People's Federation has been translated into Paloma. So I have a copy, but I do not know where that's at. So that's why we're referring to this right now as a reference. But I do agree. So if we were to do this, would we set up some type of committee to work on it?
That is correct.
Well, since it's your motion, if it's fine with you, I would recommend that you lead it and you find people to help you with it.
May I make a comment here?
Go ahead.
If my legislation proposed were to pass today, I propose that if we also do not write a new constitution, that we pass an amendment to the constitution guaranteeing the rights of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of protest, freedom of the press, and other rights that are similar, to prevent any future law from banning symbols again and limiting freedom of speech and expression.
Point of order.
Floor is yours.
I would refer to the delegate of Tehabasco that if this constitutional committee is formed and that we do write a new constitution, I would like you to be vice heading it, as you could detrimentally affect the rights that a Paloman citizen will get past all the acts that this legislative body has formed. Addition to that, if Mr. Kang does get back to me as the Supreme Justice and we write a new constitution and we give him all the information regarding the old legislative matters in this state and the new ones that will pass, he can verify if it's constitutional or not, and that if we need to appeal or make a adjustment to anything, that this legislative body is and able to do that.
I would be interested in taking the position. So if we were to form that committee, I would be happy to join.
I'll send you a private correspondence and I'll get back to you on that.
Thank you.
I see.
All right. I say we move to voting on Mr. Morris's proposal.
I'm ready to vote. I don't know if
Voting may start.
All right.
Yes,
I will vote first, as on behalf of Tehabasco, I vote A.
on behalf of Zafiro, I vote A.
Punto de Sal, we need to vote.
I'm not sure if he is with us. I've pinged him to try to get his attention.
Point of order.
Floor is yours.
If the member from
Sorry.
Decorum.
All right, sorry about that.
disregard my notion.
So I'm supposed to vote on what? The Constitution?
Not the Constitution.
No.
I don't know if you looked at it. It is slightly up in the chat. It is called the Freedom of Expression Act of 2021.
Well, I've already looked at it and it seems good with me, so I'm gonna vote A on behalf of Punto de Sal.
On behalf of Pajaro, I shall vote abstain.
The motion then passes.
Right.
Before Before we adjourn or go on to something else, I do have something to note here. Please give me a minute. If anyone else would like to say something else while I'm preparing, they can go ahead.
Sure. Point of order.
I cede the floor to Mr. Kohler.
As Mr. Reimer was absent for a few minutes before the vote, if in the future a vote is held, what is the threshold for the amount of time that they get to vote or that they lose their vote?
There is no threshold. If they do not vote, then the vote will continue, and by the time the meeting is over, if they did not vote, then their vote does not count.
Okay, so my question was, when the vote occurs, does the general secretary or whoever's heading the meeting just stop the vote? And that's on their accord, not like a time basis? Like, I'm referring to you know how for example, cite the House of Representatives when they were voting on the impeachment articles of President Trump. They have a time limit, and when that time runs out, they don't specifically stop the vote, but they let the last voters keep going, and then when everyone's done voting, it ceases. Yes, I was just wondering
Yes.
if there was a similar thing in the Supreme Paloman.
Incorrect. No.
Okay, so to clarify, the General Secretary stops the vote.
Yes. But voting would technically legally stop when the meeting is over. So that means the delegate would have as much time as they want until the meeting is over to vote. So they could vote on a whole separate topic when a whole different bill is being proposed if they have missed the previous topic.
I understand. Thank you. I cede the floor back to the General Secretary or the delegate from Tabasco. Thank you.
Yes, I am ready to continue. General Secretary, I wonder.
Welcome back.
I apologize. I'd like to apologize for any offense I may have caused. I was just liking to make a point. I deeply apologize. I will never let it happen again.
You are not making a point.
Maybe we can please continue the meeting.
Yes. Any motions?
I have nothing else.
I have nothing else either.
Zafiro has nothing else. Thank you.
I have nothing else either. So, shall we bring this meeting to adjourn?
Sure.
Sure.
I'm awaiting a response from the representative of Tabasco.
Yes, I have nothing else. We can adjourn this meeting.
All right, I now adjourn this meeting on Sunday, February 7th, 2021.